Good evening, friends. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is the COVID vaccines. So if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to Pediatric Classes and click the bell icon so that you will get all the new videos on time. So we will now discuss about the COVID vaccines. Please note whatever thing we are going to discuss is what are things are being under trial, and whatever data has just come up. Many researchers are also continuing in this field, and lots of data are yet to come out. So coming to COVID-19, this disease was declared a pandemic by WHO in March 2020. They are enveloped viruses with a positive sense single-stranded RNA genome. Their clinical features can range from mild to severe. So mild, as you all know, like it may come as a fever or a sore throat, and even it can range or go to the severe stage where there is a respiratory failure, and culminating in death. So the range is so much, and it has been declared a pandemic by WHO in 2020. And then the thing for our vaccine has come up, the timeline of the vaccine. I will just show you now. So in 23rd April 2020, Pfizer has started working on this vaccine, and on 30th April, the Oxford AstraZeneca had come out, started working for the vaccine. And on 9th November, it's so positive. As you can see, it's only a matter of around 6 to 7 months. In November, they claimed, the studies claimed an efficacy of around 90 to 94%. And on 16th November, the Moderna vaccine, they claimed an efficacy of around 95%. On 20th November, the Pfizer was approved for emergency use in the US. 23rd, our Oxford vaccine trial had efficacy of 62 to 99%. I will explain about why there is a difference in this and the later slides. On 3rd January, it was approved for emergency use in India too. Now, this is one question. What are the main types of vaccines currently into the market? There are lots and lots of type of vaccines into the market, but at least we will be discussing the main 4 types, that are the mRNA vaccines, the adenoviral vector vaccines, the inactivated vaccines, and the subunit vaccines. So coming to the mRNA vaccine, the major things are now the Pfizer's vaccine and also the Moderna vaccine. So what is an mRNA vaccine? Lots of controversies, lots of talk has been behind this, but to understand that, we should know about the structure of the coronavirus. See, these are the S proteins, or the spike proteins. What happens when there is an infection of the coronavirus? These S proteins, these are the spike proteins. So they actually have the receptor binding motif, which actually binds to the ACE receptors, angiotensin converting enzyme receptors of the lung epithelia. So these are the mRNA. We have RNA, N protein, and we also have the envelope protein, M protein, etc. So this is the structure of a coronavirus. So how do we actually what actually happens in an mRNA vaccine? The mechanism. So what happens is, first we have to do the genomic sequence of this coronavirus. We are taking the whole mRNA out, and as I already mentioned, the spike proteins are the things having the receptor binding motifs for the ACE receptors. So any antibodies to the spike proteins will definitely produce immunity in the recipient. So we have to take the whole mRNA, we have to do the genome sequencing of it, and find out the mRNA part which is coding for the spike protein. And then that particular part is multiplied to make more copies. The mRNA as such is very fragile. So it is enclosed with an envelope of lipid nanoparticles. Okay. And then that mRNA, which is enveloped in a lipid nanoparticles, that things are injected into our deltoid muscles, which is taken up by antigen presenting cells. These enters the cells and are taken up by ribosomes, and multiple copies of spike proteins are produced, and which are presented to MHC 1 and 2, and all these produce antibodies, thus inducing an adaptive immunity. So in short, what has happened is we have taken the mRNA, we have done the genomic sequence of the coronavirus. We have taken the mRNA responsible for the production of spike proteins. We have made it in large, then we have enveloped it with lipid nanoparticles. Then we have injected it to the deltoid muscle, which are taken from where it is taken by the antigen presenting cells, and then further taken up by the ribosomes and multiple copies of spike proteins. So here our body is making the spike proteins, and then these are presented to the MHCs, and then lots and lots of antibodies are produced. Okay. Now, what is the efficacy of an mRNA vaccine? It has been found that this mRNA vaccine protects against symptomatic COVID infection. The efficacy is around 95%. This is a 2-dose schedule, but 100% protection against the serious disease. Both the Pfizer's and the Moderna vaccine is found to have around 94-95% efficacy. Coming to the second type of vaccine, that is the adenoviral vector vaccine. We are using the same technology for the Ebola vaccine also. What happens here? There is a vector. We are using adenovirus as a vectors to deliver these spike proteins to the APC instead of the lipid nanoparticles which are used in mRNA. So what happens here? Here the adenoviruses are selected. One point to note here is there are different vaccines based on this technology. Some are using human adenovirus, some are using chimp adenovirus, etc. So whatever doubt which will we have is, won't this adenovirus, most of the human community will be having some antibodies against this adenovirus as such. So won't we actually reject this, or rather work against these vaccines, where our body work against these vaccines. So this chosen, and another doubt which people ask is, when we inject this adenoviral particles, will we have an infection related to it? So this, as explained in my next sentence, this means these chosen adenoviruses are made non-replicating, or rather some talk says less replicating, by deleting their replication genes. So what happens is then they will actually not cause a disease. So and most of them are non-pathogenic. The chosen ones are non-pathogenic, made non-replicating with a stable genome. So thus they won't cause a disease in the humans. So here the mechanism is, we have taken the adenoviral DNA. They are, see, please understand, these adenoviruses, they are DNA viruses, okay? They are made non-replicating or slightly less replicating or least replicating, I say, by deleting the replication genes. Then the coronaviral mRNA coding for the spike protein is identified. And this is, mRNA can get converted to RNA, and then it gets inserted into the adenoviral genome, okay, making it a recombinant DNA. Then what happens? These recombinant things are injected and grown in human embryo kidney cell lines, and the purified copies are collected and injected into the human body, and antibodies are produced. So in the mRNA vaccine, we have used mRNA and also the lipid nanoparticles and all. Here we are using the vector, the adenoviral vectors for injecting or carrying the spike protein things, or the mRNA responsible for the spike protein things, into our body. The examples are the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. These are using the chimpanzee adenoviruses. It has been thought that the chimpanzee adenovirus, they are less prevalent in human beings, so the reactogenicity or the immunogenicity will be better. So that is why we are using chimp adenovirus. These are manufactured by the Serum Institute under the name the Covishield. We all will be getting the vaccines, so either Covishield or vaccine soon, in a matter of few days. They are using 2 doses, 4 weeks apart. Immunity comes after 2 weeks after the second dose. They are claiming an efficacy of around 70%. If you are actually noticed from a previous slide, I have put a slide stating around this one, immunity around efficacy 60-70%. So I will discuss this later. Then another one is about the CanSino vaccine using the human adenoviruses as vectors. And we also have Sputnik vaccine using the adenovirus 28 and adenovirus 5. The difference is the first shot they are using this vector adenovirus 28, and in the second dose they are using the adenovirus 5. Okay. That is also almost coming up now. So why in that question, this is the question I want to discuss, why that efficacy is ranging between 62% to 90%, Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Actually, during that trial, there was actually happened to be two groups. One had received a low dose followed by a standard dose, another one, 2 standard doses. Because 5 million copies are supposed to be there in a vaccine, then what happened was because of the quantification, some were using spectrophotometry, and difference in between that, a group of a subset of the people were given the low dose, and there were difference in protocols during the trials time. So they were given 2.5 million copies, whereas the standard dose is 5 million copies. So what happened was they followed up the children, and actually it is found that they were found to have a higher efficacy of around 90%, whereas the one who received 2 standard doses got an efficacy of around 62%. So overall, we are claiming an efficacy of around 70% from the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. We found that, or rather, from the studies, from the literature, it has shown that the overall efficacy is around 70%. The government has actually approved the use of 2 standard doses for the COVID vaccination thing. This is going to start now. Now, coming to the third type of vaccine, they are the inactivated vaccines. Inactivated, see, these are India's first indigenous COVID-19 vaccine. They are developed by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with ICMR and NIV. These vaccines use viruses whose genetic material has been destroyed, or rather inactivated, so that they cannot replicate. But an immune response can be generated. So you all know, okay, there are lots of inactivated vaccines. Like for example, we have seen so many vaccines like polio, hepatitis A, rabies, etc., etc. In the same manner, we are using the coronavirus. These are the inactivated vaccines. These are our India's first indigenous vaccine. Okay, there are names of it. I will show you. Then the picture. This is our Covaxin. This is found to be at least 60% effective. There is still more data to come. So let us wait for the final data. So these are the examples. So one is Covaxin by Bharat Biotech. The picture is this. Then another, these are all the Chinese vaccines. CoronaVac by the Sinovac. The picture is this one. Then we have the CNBG vaccine. 2 are there. They are by the Sinopharm. The one is from the Wuhan Institute, another from the Beijing Institute. These are actually, I think UAE and all, we are using this one now, CNBG vaccines. So there are lots of types. Then this is our 4th type, that are the subunit vaccines. So what happens in the subunit vaccines? Examples like, for example, in hepatitis B. So example of subunit vaccine, then or influenza, etc., etc. So here pieces of the pathogen are usually fragments of the proteins. That particular things are used to trigger an immune response. In the previous vaccines like mRNA vaccine or adenoviral vector vaccines, what happens is the body is made to produce spike proteins, and then it produces antibodies against it. Whereas in a subunit vaccine, lab-made version of SARS-CoV spike proteins are actually injected into the human body. We need to give 2 doses at least 22 days apart. They are found to have maximum immunogenicity and maximum antibodies. Data is more data we are expecting it. Now, so these are in short about the COVID vaccine. So I have discussed about mRNA vaccine, adenoviral vector vaccines, then inactivated vaccine, and also the subunit vaccines. Now, coming to the side effects of COVID vaccines. What are the side effects? Most of the side effects which we found are the side effects of any other vaccines, like for fever, redness at the site, fatigue, soreness, headache, muscle ache, joint pains, etc. But there are certain reported rare serious side effects which we actually see are the anaphylactic shock, facial nerve palsy, transverse myelitis, etc. The long-term effects are yet to found. The long-term effects are yet to come out, or to we need long-term follow-up for finding out the long-term effects. Now, actually, pregnant ladies and children under 18 years are not to be vaccinated now. And also, lactating mothers are also preferably avoided. Actually, mRNA vaccines are found to be safer. So we need more data regarding it. So should we need to do antibody testing prior to vaccination? It is another commonly asked question. And most of the experts in the field of virology are saying, and vaccinology are saying no to it. Now, how many percentage of population to be vaccinated to achieve a vaccine-induced herd immunity? So about vaccine-induced herd immunity, that shows that at least if you are able to vaccinate 70%, this is also not a very hard and fast rules. Generally in India, this is like around if you vaccinate 70% of the population, the vaccine-induced herd immunity comes into play, and we will be able to prevent the disease. So make the epidemic into an endemic portion type. Okay, so let us see this one whether it will be right or not. We have to wait and see. Now, this is a usually now everybody is worried about this. What are the variants or the mutants of COVID-19? So please note that the mutation is at the receptor binding domain of the spike protein. In UK strain, mutant strain, it is an N501Y, where the asparagine is replaced by tyrosine. In the South African strain, there are 3 mutations actually. So, but why are you all much worried is this, because of the more transmissibility and also the more cases on children are found in this mutant variants. So these mutations are the mutation now right now encountered. So now the question which comes is, will these vaccines protect against the mutants? What are vaccines which we have developed? Will they protect against the mutant variants? Coming to UK vaccine strain, yes, they are found to, the vaccine is found to respond, or rather, the vaccine is found to be protective against the UK strain. But when I was listening to so many experts talk on this vaccinology, they all have told that the South African strain, they may not respond much to the vaccine because there are almost 3 mutations in the strain. So the question is yet to be solved. So it is, as of now, it may not be effective. So that let more research come, and we will be coming out with the answers soon. Now, coming to the one word about the COVID vaccination in India, the program is all set to roll out on January 16, 2021. The government has prioritized around 30 crore people to be vaccinated, including the healthcare workers, then frontline workers like police, military, sanitation staff, then people above 50 years, and even those less than 50 years with certain diseases. So let us wish all success to the program, which is to be rolled out on January 16, 2021. Let's all get vaccinated, and let's hope that we are able to actually, show a way, and let us hope that we're able to contain the pandemic as soon as possible. So wishing all the luck for the program. So that ends my talk today on COVID vaccines. So I request all of you to please subscribe to my channel and stay safe. Thank you.